Whew, shake it off. Shake it off, shake it off, shake it off. Oh my goodness. Why am I so nervous? I don't even have to post this if I don't want to post it. Oh my gosh. This is insane how I get. I really don't have to post any of this if I don't want to post it. I have held back. And I don't know, I'm a very outspoken person. Hi. I am Dawn Michelle, the founder of Holy Roots. It's so crazy to me that I get nervous because I have always been this way from modeling. Everybody thinks that I have this confidence because of modeling, but for some reason I'm great in front of the still camera, but I have always struggled to record while the red light is flashing, which is happening right now. So it is getting a little easier. I started this YouTube channel, Holy Grits. And I started Holy Grits Creative, which is social media management and SEO management for websites and businesses to help grow. It still amazes me because I'm like starting Holy Grits Fitness. I'm starting Holy Grits apparel. I am starting Holy Grits motivational speaker. Start booking, 15-minute phone calls to talk about different life events that you might be going through, or you might need a pick-me-up, or if you feel alone. I've just got so much planned for Holy Grits. I just wanted to tell you that I am very nervous. And I'm very nervous about this YouTube channel because I am opening up about things that some people might put me down for telling the truth, and the things that I've gone through, my mistakes that I've made, my trauma that comes from my CPTSD, and me always being the black sheep, me breaking generational traumas. I am just so nervous right now because I know in the first couple episodes I talked about love. I want you guys to truly know where all of Holy Grits came from. That means speaking the truth about my past. And I have been in therapy now for almost 2 years. I swear to you, the things that I am going to be talking about are the things that I talk about in therapy, which are very personal. They are the reasons why I am the way that I am. I'm a very deep, loyal, I'm an empath, and I care about people so much. It's almost like I'm starting to wonder, deep empaths, if it's because they've been through so much trauma, and how they say that trauma stays stored in our body and we feel so much. I'm starting to think that deep empaths have gone through a lot of shit in their life. And I am so scared. I am being so real with you right now because even though I have been the black sheep of my family, and even though I don't even talk to most of my family anymore, it's still very scary to put this stuff out there. Bringing up my dad, and I think it hits a certain part of me too because I love him so much, and I do see that there could be a lot of good in him, and there used to be a lot of good in him, but life has really taken him. And I don't know, it's not my place to figure out, right? Why he's so angry, not just at me, but at the world, and resentful. It's not on me to take that either as his daughter. So yeah, I am shaking right now. I did write some of this down because I wanted to be very clear and intentional with what I'm about to talk about with my dad. Why I dropped him at the age of 35. Mine and his relationship has been off and on since I was a kid. I have been realizing the dynamic between us after I was 11 years old when they decided to split up for real. And after that, even though I wanted to live with my dad, he kind of changed his whole attitude towards me. Now that I'm older and away from him, I'm able to put all these like pieces together. It sucks, but it is what it is. And I love him. So please, me going into this and me being open and vulnerable, don't bash me for speaking my truth, because this is hard for me. And I know other girls and even men have probably felt this way. Yeah, this episode is strictly just about my dad. I was going to put my dad and my mom together in the same episode, but I feel like there's just like so much on both sides as to why I don't talk to either one of them anymore. Like I said, this isn't me bashing. This is me just speaking my truth and getting it out there for others to probably just, maybe they need to get away from their parents. It's not that I want separation or division. It's just that I know for the last few years, the growth I have done and the things that I have accomplished by separating myself from my father. And I never in my entire life thought that was going to happen. So yeah, let's get into it, okay? We're going to talk about like boundaries as well, right? Even if they have to do with family, because sometimes in our life, you have to set your boundaries with friends, family, whoever it may be, your partner, and boundaries are not bad. And do you ever notice when you start doing what is best for you? The room around you, right, gets quiet. It's like the second you stop people pleasing, people start calling you the problem. I've always been that way, the black sheep, the thinking outside the box in my family, I can understand where they're coming from. I've never had a one-way thinking. I don't know if that makes sense, but now I get it. The reason why I'm the black sheep, because I'm very outspoken, because I do things against the norm in my family. I have always been a very open, speak what I feel against them. And that can make people feel very uncomfortable having your own opinions, especially after generations of having the same opinion. But now I get it. It's not that they hate you. It's that your growth shines a light on what they refuse to face, right? And I really learned that lesson the hard way with my dad. My dad has always withdrawn his love whenever I didn't do things his way. That just goes into how I have been treated by him my entire life. That just is how it's always been. If I disagreed with him, if I had my own opinion, if I didn't follow the script, suddenly I was the disrespectful one. Suddenly I was Anita, which is my mother. Suddenly I was the problem. I was the bad one. It just sucks because the love got quiet if I ever spoke out. If I ever went against the grain. And when the love got quiet, the phone calls would stop, made him mad somehow, some way, and I was left sitting there wondering what I did wrong. What did I say? What did I do? But before I ever reached that breaking point, there was a shift. It started in my earlier years, and then in my early 20s when I got to therapy. because I started noticing my PTSD that I had. Really wanted to work on myself because I knew that I had trauma, but I didn't know how severe that it was because I kind of just went forward in my life. I had been going to college for psychology and working for children's homes and realizing that my life wasn't that bad. So I just kind of compartmentalized, hey, Dawn, you didn't even go through some of these things that these children have gone through, so suck it up and keep going. But it did start in my early 20s when I got into therapy and I started forgiving my mother. I didn't excuse her, not forgetting, but forgiving. I truly understood where she was coming from. When I forgave her, I'll talk more about her in the next episode. It was so weird. Healing is so weird. So when I forgave her, my vision had cleared about my father in my childhood. I started to see my dad differently. I didn't hate him. I didn't judge him. But for the first time, I saw with clear eyes how he contributed to my childhood trauma. And I realized that maybe the reason he isolated me, the reason that I was always black sheep, the problem, I was always too much. I was always Anita. I was always her, right? I saw what really went on in that house, how he treated my mom, how he treated my older brothers, how silence became survival. Goodness gracious. I'm like sweating over here. How he made me the bad guy so no one would believe me if I ever spoke up. For years, I carried guilt that wasn't mine to carry. He did things to my older brothers. I felt guilt and shame for that because they weren't his biological kids. Somehow I took on and felt ashamed that my father was doing this to them. That made me take up for them. That made me see how much they got in trouble. And so when it was time for me to be able to say that I did something, even though I didn't, my older brothers did it, I stuck up for them and said, hey, I did that. Any point in time that I could take responsibility for something that they did, I did, because they were already going through so much abuse and I did not want that for them. I just shut down. If I had been better, quieter, perfect enough, especially to my mom, I was a very quiet kid, actually. My grandma always tried to get me out of it, the shyness, the quietness. I was experiencing things that people didn't know that I was experiencing, and I felt just trapped. I knew deep down, even as a little kid, that this wasn't normal, that these boys shouldn't be living life this way. And that guilt and shame turned into striving. And that striving became my identity. I have spent my whole life trying to make my dad proud, okay? Trying to prove that I wasn't like my mom, that I was good, that I was enough. I really thought I'd finally done it. I thought I did it. After everything that I have messed up in my life, or thought I messed up, thought I was the wrong one. The moment that I thought that I finally did it was when I became a realtor in California. I sold my first $1.9 million home. I was on top of the world. I had broken records on that street. It was freaking amazing. I sold it, and it took me 3 months of nonstop work, late nights, open houses, negotiations, and I closed that deal. I helped close that deal. I even got my sell her an extra $15,000. I was so proud of myself, okay? I made over, I think it was $35, almost $40,000 on one sale. That, in Kentucky, that is somebody's salary. I was so proud, so excited, so ready to call my dad because finally I could say, see, I did it. I made you proud, right? I made you proud. I thought that was it, guys. I thought he'll love me now. I thought he'll see that I am not my mother. He'll see that I have worked so hard. But then the unthinkable happened. I told him, and there was no excitement. There was no, wow, that's incredible, Dawn, that you have come so far. I am so proud of you. No, nothing, just silence. And I'm waiting, sitting across the table from him because it was my grandmother's 80th birthday and I was in Kentucky. You want to know what he said to me? He said, yeah, real estate agents are crooks. And if you want to be a good one, you'll have to be a crook, Dawn. Not only did he not celebrate me, he tried to stain something so pure, something I had worked for with integrity. All I could think about were those 3 months, how kind I had been to those buyers, how I went above and beyond, even to the point to where the developer that I was selling the house for had to tell me enough was enough. Dawn, you're doing too much. Stop. I'm not changing anything else. I'm not doing anything else. And yet I did it anyway because that's who I am. I took my time and energy and did certain things for the buyers. For my dad to tell me that real estate agents were crooks and my first house, 1.9 million? Are you kidding me? You're going to tell me that I'm pretty much a crook? Even the buyer's agent told me I was amazing to work with. She had been a real estate agent for years. So why couldn't my dad see me? The actual hell moment. Because in that moment, I knew no matter what I did, it would never be good enough. This was in March, a couple of years ago. And by April, I was back in Cali. It was Easter Sunday, and he had been bashing me to somebody, and I found out. Same lies, same story. I finally said, you know what, Dad, this is enough. Enough's enough. And whenever I said, hey, I don't know why you're talking about me like this. Can you not? You honestly don't really know me. I haven't been in Kentucky. I haven't really been in your life. Could you please stop talking shit about me? Because it really does hurt my feelings. He flipped out. Calls me Anita, my mom, my abuser, again. And I go, you know what, Dad? I don't have to take this anymore. He hangs up on me, okay? A couple days later, I call him. I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to call him. I'm going to give him another chance. I love him no matter what. Wait. It was a few days before Easter that he hung up on me. It wasn't Easter because Easter was the day that I told him that I was no longer going to speak to him. I dropped him. And he told me he was taking me out of his will. And I said, please do it. Because I don't need anything from you. I needed you while you were alive. I need you while you're alive, not when you're dead. I don't need anything from you. I needed you now. And I needed you to listen to me, understand that you're hurting me. So yeah, it was Easter morning. I asked him, please stop calling me Anita. I am not her. I will never be her. He used that name to control me, to remind me of my pain, to keep me small. But that Easter morning, the day we celebrate resurrection, I finally chose mine. I realized I wasn't the problem. I was the proof. Proof that healing was possible. proof that I could break the cycle. He used to say single moms have it easier than single dads. And both of him and I have been in similar situations, right? I don't get child support or anything for my kids. He never really got it from my mom. I always wondered why he would always try to compare him and I together. He said that even when I was like 23 years old, a single mom myself in college, I was raising my 5-year-old son and going after custody of my baby sister, who I call my daughter. He didn't support me. He said, "You're making a mistake," but I wasn't. I was trying to save her. I didn't want her to grow up the way that we did. I didn't want her in foster care. I'll talk more about that next week, about my mom and what really went on and how I became both big sister and mother to that baby girl. I was the first in my family to go to college, first generation, and actually graduate. Now I'm finishing my bachelor's degree. I started my own business. I'm building something from the ground up. Holy grits. You know what? I did it without needing his approval. Because once I released him, and I stopped chasing, stopped proving, and stopped fixing things that I didn't break, I felt free. It's been a long road. The hardest part is realizing how that pain has followed me into all of my relationships, all of my partnerships, why I've been so scared of having relationships. I'll talk how our body keeps the score. Even when our minds understand the logic, our body still remembers the trauma. I have always said that it is like a computer system. It stores everything even when we can't recall it consciously, okay? And it comes out in how we love. It comes out in how we fear, how we protect ourselves. It comes out. And sometimes we won't even know the reasons why we're doing certain things, certain actions, reacting, unless we are truly aware. That's the difference now. It's taken me a while to get there, but the difference now is that I am aware. I am healing and not running from the quiet anymore, because peace isn't found in proving. It's found in letting go. Again, this episode isn't about bashing my dad. It's about breaking patterns. It's about telling the truth even when it hurts. It's scary. Because sometimes the most loving thing you can do is stop chasing people who were never meant to catch up to your healing. It's hard, it's sad, but it is so sacred. Now that I have given all of this to God, I am done chasing. I am done fixing. And I am finally breathing again. So, that was crazy. That was woo-wee. Okay, next week, I'll go deeper into my story with my mom and what really went on and how I got custody of my little sister, how that season changed everything for me. For now, I just want to say this. You don't owe your peace to anyone, not even family. You don't have to keep bleeding to prove you deserve love. You are allowed to walk away from what hurts, even if it has your last name. I'm going to end it with Proverbs 4:23, with above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. So stay gritty, stay holy, and stay grounded. Love, Dawn Michelle.